form of Molly.
Hey, neighbor?
She was an angel of death who was a nurse. The fun of her character is that she agreed to help Joe Carroll on one condition.
When it comes time to kill him, I get to do it.
How you feeling? No one only hurts when I walk or talk, breathe.
Mike comes back with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and we soon find out that it's not the Mike that we knew in the first half of the season.
What are you doing? That's breaking and entering.
Oh, this is Ryan Hardy approved.
The search for the cult house and for Claire and Joey leads them to this militia connection that they hope they can find Joe Carroll.
I have nothing to do with Joe Carroll and his house of psychos.
House? What house?
Somebody's down here.
And once again, it puts Mike Weston in the hot seat.
I end up in a room with Joe Carroll behind bulletproof glass. And it was a great scene because he's grilling Ryan for the details of why he puts himself in these positions, why he's always around death. It was electric. That's the magic of the show, is when these two guys are together.
We are so alike, Ryan. It is through death that we both live.
So this death curse, this sort of thing that's been following Ryan Hardy around, comes front and center, but Joe Carroll escapes again.
This is Sheriff Nelson of Havenport.
Roderick, Joe Carroll's number 2, to find out that he is the sheriff.
Excuse me, Sheriff.
Yeah. Was kind of incredible.
You need to put your hands up.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Hey, hey!
And I have to react quickly, and he runs out, and I'm arrested because I'm this crazy FBI agent running around in a sheriff's station accusing the sheriff of being a murderer.
Federal agents!
We have an escape plan.
The cult starts to fracture a bit as Roderick starts to realize that Joe Carroll is using them.
I'm the one that's out there every day watching things for us while you sit here writing a book. Mining and dining a wife that's never gonna want you.
Which leads to Roderick snatching Joey. Roderick can't get out of town, so he goes to Ryan Hardy and cuts a deal. You get me out of here, and I'll give you little Joey.
You take me to Joey. I cut you loose. Come here. It's okay.
Joe sends Jacob to grab little Joey, and he ends up in this showdown in this little bitty cabin in the woods where Roderick is in fact killed. Jacob gets away and takes little Joey, but Ryan Hardy saves him.
He's just a kid, man. Let him go.
It's one of my favorite scenes, actually, when Joey says to Ryan, like, you're Ryan Hardy, right? And knows immediately that that's somebody he can trust. It was a really great moment.
Joe!
Claire realizes Joe is off the deep end.
I want to make a deal.
And this sort of notion that he's going to reunite his family is kind of a joke.
I loved you once, Joe.
And she actually takes a knife and stabs Joe, trying to kill him. She doesn't quite succeed, making Joe realize he's never, ever going to turn Claire around. He basically locks Claire up. He contacts Ryan Hardy and says, we have entered the final chapter.
It has transpired that Claire is no longer our leading lady. No, she will not be riding off into the sunset with me.
You better come save her because she's going to be dead real soon. By now, the FBI has descended upon this small town, so Joe Carroll sets his final plan into motion.
Today is the most special of days.
The FBI has set up a community center outreach so that people can go there until this case comes to an end. And of course, that is exactly what Joe Carroll targets in his attempt to get out of town.
We deduced that if there was going to be an event, it would probably be in this community center. So we show up ready to deal with the situation, but we have no idea that it's going to be an all-out massacre.
Meanwhile, Joe and Emma have taken Claire
On a boat.
and they found the one way out of this town is by boat. Jacob says to Emma, we don't have to go with him. Let's go on our own.
I don't want to die.
But that's our purpose.
I don't want you to die either.
Unfortunately, the only person Emma loves more than Jacob is Joe Carroll, which leads her to taking matters into her own hands, and she kills Jacob.
In the community center, within the melee of all that happening, Parker gets taken, and we don't realize until after the fact.
It's one of the more scary, horrific moments in our show when they take her and she's placed into a box and buried alive. And that's our ticking clock, which leads us into the season finale.
Phone number.
Now now the race is on to find Deborah Parker. She's left in this coffin with a cell phone. She's got a few hours left maybe to live. With the stakes so big.
So you need to start talking. You're FBI. You can't do it.
Ryan Hardy has been driven to the end. He'll do anything it takes, any means necessary to get to this woman.
If you're lying, I will kill you.
Of course, it works. They get to the spot. They find her. They dig her up. Unfortunately, they're just a little too late.
All the stuff leading up to and the death of Parker was just great stuff to play. Tragic and terrible.
It's a little too late. Bummer.
In one of his more anti-hero moments, Ryan pulls a Joe Carroll and takes out a follower in cold blood.
I loved the opportunity to look up and see that guy who put my dear partner in a box and shoot him in the head. You know, as an actor, it's a really satisfying thing to do.
Also in the coffin, along with Deborah Parker, was Joe Carroll's completed manuscript. Ryan pulls it out and reads it. Joe Carroll's final plan is to play out the chapter of his book.
How would he know exactly what was going to happen?
He doesn't. In this story, you're dead.
So we can still change the story.
It leads him to where the final chapter is meant to take place.
If you want to see Claire again, this is the only way.
Joe Carroll's final plan is to play out the chapter of his book. So when Ryan wakes up, he is in the lighthouse with Claire and Joe.
How's it going to end, Ryan?
The final moment involves Ryan watching
You gotta kill me.
Joe kill Claire.
It's the best ending. I'm the hero. You can let her go, but I have got to die.
Can Ryan rewrite
It's overkill.
these last few moments of the book?
I'm so bored with you and Edgar Allan Poe.
And he does. He manages to save Claire. He chases Joe into the boathouse. There is a series of gunshots. The boathouse catches fire, and Ryan barely gets out before it just blows up. Joe Carroll, for all intents and purposes, is dead.
You have to be sure it's him. Are you sure?
Claire's been saved. Joe has been taken into protective custody, and Ryan and Claire stop in New York. We see them profess their love for each other. Lo and behold, there was one loose end. His next-door neighbor and follower of Joe Carroll's, Molly. And in the final moment of the season, she stabs Ryan. Season 2, Ryan Hardy is in a brand new place. We have our returning characters and a whole slew of new, exciting characters. It's going to be a thriller, roller coaster ride. And here's a look at Season 2.
A new book hits the stands this week, a true story of Joe Carroll.
This week marks the anniversary of Joe Carroll's death.
Resurrection!
Are these your cult boys or a new fan club?
Could be both.
Law enforcement officials.
Looks like there's a new cult.
Who are they?
They're trying to resurrect his legacy.
Yeah, probably.
And you're walking away?
I want no part of this, Mike. This is over for me.
You act like you're over it, but you're here because you care.
Now would be the time to tell the FBI this information.
They'll figure it out.
Where is he? This is a very specific message.
Joe is dead.